Hey there. If you're listening to this, then the worst has happened. And the worst could have been a few things. You could have taken a job at the infamous Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You could have attended a birthday party there, or just stopped in for a slice on a bad day. Heck, Roxy Raceway could have finally collapsed while you were halfway around the track. It doesn't really matter how it happened, but you died, and you didn't move on. Your name is Mud, the same mud they used to bury your coffin with your old body inside. Now you will spend the rest of your life, or afterlife, in your new one. Turns out you ended up a little too close to one of the mascots, and now you are one. Welcome to the life of a haunted animatronic. You can check out at any time you like, but you can never leave. So first things first. You're probably disoriented and confused, aware but not entirely there, so it is vital that you think back and remember. Part 1. Memories and Grounding. Memories are a very powerful thing when it comes to souls stuck in between. You can use them to ground you, to help you remember how you got there, and perhaps to keep control of your newfound body. And you want to get grounded fast, because you don't want to be one of those souls swirling in the abyss, thinking they're at a pizza party while some schmuck with a sick streak is convincing you to slice up your former friends. Nah, you need to remember where you are, who you are, or you're going to lose it. Then, you move on to what you are now. Part 2. Bodies. Not all bodies are made the same, and really just a thing as simple as texturing can affect whether or not you're going to be clunkily shuffling around or if you're at a risk of molding. One of the most well-known builds are the endoskeleton in a plush suit build known as the classic animatronics. These animatronics are much more friendly looking, but they can get around. The plush bodies are likely lighter than the heavy shells, but still do restrict more agile movements. In the case of Foxy, the fastest bot of this kind, it can't be a coincidence that he's missing his leg padding. And he's also an example of how, without care, that soft suit can tear and wear, and if you are stationed in a pizzeria, that could lead to you getting shelved, out of service. On the flip side, the suit can absorb fluids from the outside world. Something as simple as rain can soak through and rust the endoskeleton underneath, leading to severe damage. Definitely pros and cons, but how does that compare to other models? Animatronics like the toys and Funtimes are sealed with either plastic or metal-plated exteriors. These harder bodies are heavier, but could also lead to weighing you down. And could be good protection, holding up better than the fabric suits, though with the cracks and plates they wouldn't be able to deflect all ailments. Plus, if you end up in a Funtime, you'll have a 2 in 5 chance to spawn with your own body stuck inside. You don't want to have that weighing you down because if someone finds it, you will take the heat for it. It's really a catch-22 there. The trade-off being with how advanced the Funtimes are, you might get lucky enough to find a body with the ability to mimic voices or smell like various foodstuffs. Trust me, it's occasionally useful for hunting raccoons. But the worst part about being a Funtime has to be the scooper. See, the Funtimes specifically are built to hunt and murder children. And the process of cleaning the animatronics after the fact and hiding the evidence involves using the scooper, a machine that disassembles the animatronics with a giant scoop, ripping off plating and tearing apart wires. Baby says, and I quote, "It only hurts for a moment." But don't be fooled by that assurance. Read between the words. It hurts. And with that scooper a very vital part of their cleanup, expect it to be used often. It is a terrible price to pay. Oh, and being forced to kill kids, that's pretty bad too. Now you would think that the Glamrock animatronics would be perfect trade-offs, but there is a major fatal flaw. Their high-tech capabilities mean that you will be stuck on the Pizzaplex grid, likely at the mercy of whatever systems or viruses may be in it. And to power that new software, you have a big battery in your chest that is slowly draining energy with every step you take. You'll be hopping into the animatronic John like you're a nervous chihuahua with bladder control issues, constantly refilling that battery only to have it dying just by crossing the admittedly huge Pizzaplex. In Security Breach, Glamrock Freddy, who has a new battery upgrade, can't walk far at all before he's required to jump into a station. And yes, this may be in-game balancing, but with the Pizzaplex's hourly recharges, you know that there will be a constant clock hanging over your head. All of this also means that, unlike some animatronic models who might be like, "Screw this, I'm taking it to the streets," and bail when they get a chance, you won't get that chance as a Glamrock. You're stuck there, so you better hope it doesn't catch on fire. And you better hope you don't act too screwy, because unlike the little pizzerias that may forgive odd behavior since you're a quarter of the entertainment, Glamrocks can be replaced, if not by other characters, then by newer versions of their own model, and you will likely be disassembled. But you won't die. Honestly, the best bodies I can see in rotation currently are the daycare attendant and Bellora's. Not only are they very human, meaning you would have plenty of mobility, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Bellora can canonically climb on the walls. I think Scott said it. And cut animations show that Moon definitely can. These are very able-bodied, and due to their naturally uncanny nature, humans probably won't get too close. Plus, being somewhat closer to human bodies, you might adjust a little faster. But really, you can adjust to any body you choose, just know your weakness as well. Water's not your friend, neither is extreme hot or cold temperatures, mold is an issue, as can be rust. Tasing is a huge issue too, usually used by employees to halt aggressive animatronics and correct concerning behavior. A controlled shock alone may be painful and lead to a brief period of shutdown. But the bigger problem is the 3 strikes you're out issue. Repeated controlled shocks can lead to damage to the body. Even a recently crafted animatronic loses enough quality to be virtually unsalvageable after 3 shocks, and that's considering all of the broken animatronics that do get sold regardless. A shock may haunt you for a while. And you may say, but if my body breaks down, I will be free to move on to the afterlife. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like that baggage you brought in will keep weighing you down until it's resolved, so your body might fall apart, but you aren't going anywhere. And this means that you might have to resort to scavenging parts from junkyards, trash heaps, and even other animatronics. Be warned though, this is a slippery slope. The better parts will require a bigger sacrifice of your humanity. How far will you go to stay afloat? In general, living indoors will extend the life on any body you inhabit, but that too comes with a catch. Let's get into that now. Part 3. Shelter. Owned or free range? It is imperative to keep your body as pristine as possible, but that comes with a price, and your options come at the price of your freedom. Pizzeria or Pizzaplex has its perks. You've got somewhere safe to stay, you likely have routine maintenance, and you can be around other humans. You can even talk to children, just be careful how alive you sound, and perform for them. Why, you may even feel human. But the risk of being sussed out as something's not right will always linger, and because of this you will have to learn how to pretend and keep quiet. But that also means not having much, if any, autonomy of your own. You can't react if a kid splashes milkshakes down your back or tries to tip you over. If you do, you become a liability, and God forbid somebody gets hurt because of you. Well, if it's a night guard, no one might care, but if it's in broad daylight, you could be looking at a swift retirement, either being stripped for parts and left to rot in the back room, or tossed into the gutter or junkyard to fend for yourself. Thankfully or not, Freddy's doesn't tend to properly dispose of their animatronics. And once again, you may say, the Pizzaplex. But alas, the Pizzaplex is not much better from what I said earlier with these bodies. You still have a leash on you, it's just a neon-colored one. And if you aren't working at a pizzeria, then you're also in trouble because it might also be difficult to find a restaurant that will just take in a random animatronic who shows up in their back alley. There's a real luck element involved. Speaking of which, living on the outside offers its own set of challenges. You may have less interactions with humans and the freedom to not dance on stage getting pizza slices slung at you, but the cost is that your safety is not guaranteed. You are surrounded by the elements. Rain, snow, mud, muck. Even just a hot day may overload sensitive hardware. And unlike in the pizzeria where you may be repaired or cleaned, you're on your own. You will deteriorate and there won't be any way to fix yourself unless you find someone willing to fix you up. which will land you at an auction or a dining room, or learn the scavenge. Scavenging can be efficient, allowing you to become something more capable of survival, but again, there's always a cost involved. We'll get to dirty parts later. And that still won't fix every issue with being outside. Though on the plus side, you might be able to find some peace if you locate somewhere safe to hide, such as in a shed or the crawl space under a house. The best chance you've got is if you can find an abandoned Freddy's. It won't be the best shelter, but you can have a roof over your head, at least until it starts leaking, and you can relax away from prying eyes. Not great options, but them's the breaks. And one of the reasons for that are the humans that surround you. Once fellows and friends, now a risk at every corner. Trusting and handling humans. So you might have a human approach you and think, hey, maybe I can tell them I'm real. Then I'm a person too. Maybe they can help me. Maybe this can be my new roommate and we can eat popcorn and watch trashy TV and wait for all this to blow over. But this is a very dangerous move. Humans are understandably afraid of haunted animatronics. And you likely know why. Odds are a haunted animatronic is why you're in this situation. And they might lash out at you, report you to management of some kind, or even try to shut you down. Which, no, would likely not let you move on. The bigger risk, though, is why a human is approaching. An overly friendly human, especially one who knows about possessed animatronics, is a red flag. They might want something from you, and that can range from them wanting to play nice so you won't kill them, to them seeking you out for something worse than death. Do not trust the overly friendly humans, especially if they're overly smiley. Male, middle age or later, pale splotchy complexion, brown hair, silver eyes, be wary and keep watch. But don't let your fear of humans drive you to do something stupid. Do not attack unprovoked, unless it's him. And resist the urge to reveal yourself as aware. The only exception would be children. At a young enough age, children will not be able to tell when an animatronic should not be moving. Protect them. Don't let them end up like us. And if by some miracle you do meet a human who truly befriends you and is totally innocent, do yourself and them a favor and make sure they leave Freddy's as fast as possible. You know for a fact that people who get close to the bots don't live long. It's better to have your new buddy leave you to survive than die and join you. That part of your life is over now. You are no longer human, and for your sake, you must consider them all as a risk. But what about other animatronics? Others trapped in the same grave as you? Part 5. Trusting other animatronics. You may assume that you can trust other haunted animatronics. And you're right. With a catch. Not everything that moves is haunted by another human soul, and not every human soul is looking to be chummy. Though if you do find a band of like-minded others, perhaps ending up stuck on the same stage together due to circumstances, this may help you in the long run. Not only will the support keep your sanity intact, and perhaps keep you safe from being targeted by opportunists, but you might be able to work together on repairs and further survival. This would come in handy on the outside, but unfortunately it is outside the pizzeria where you are more likely to find animatronics who aren't so friendly, such as scavengers. Some broken bots may be looking for scrap to rebuild themselves, and they won't care where it's coming from. And a fresh face might be perfect to replace their smashed-in one. And if they're already out there, they might have already adapted, and will be more fiercely capable of taking you out. And this goes both ways. If you're living out on the fringes of society, you might find yourself stuck with the uncomfortable realization that you will have to fight another machine to keep the one you're in going. There is a principle of nature that most every creature knows. It's called survival of the fittest, and this is how it goes. The animal that wins has got to claw and bite and kick and punch. The animal who doesn't winds up someone else's lunch. So you better be prepared to watch your six, even though you're already dead. And since we're on the topic, let me cover dirty parts very quickly. Sometimes you may find an animatronic and you may pilfer it for parts. Use them for yourself. But depending on what it comes off of, something might come with it. May it be a glitch or a virus or another presence entirely. Just because your soul is controlling this body doesn't mean that you're the only one who can be in it. If you gain another person with you, it could be a nice camaraderie. But more than likely, you're going to be competing for the same space, and two people fighting for a body that they already can barely control is a recipe for disaster. And if something more foul gets inside, you could be looking at losing control altogether. So be careful what you pull off of. In an almost tragic twist of fate, the cleanest animatronics with the most sane souls would probably be the safest targets to hit. Moving on, in some rare cases you may be confronted by animatronics who act friendly to lure you in, but actually intend to use you. One example of this would be what happened to the Funtime band. You remember Circus Babies? Well, the lead, Circus Baby, wanted out of the gig and convinced her bandmates to assist. She was pretty manipulative. She had quite a hold on them. But due to her bossy behavior, the moment they were free, they dumped her and moved on. This ended up biting both of them in the end as they were left as scrap heaps in the gutter. Maybe the rental gig wasn't so bad. Well, save the controlled shocks. Now, there are a few notable animatronics you should keep an eye out for. Such as Circus Baby, in fact. In fact, if you see anything with pigtails, it's best to steer clear. And if it does take notice in you, try to get out of there fast. Fighting back may be necessary, but the last thing you want is one of these things interested in you. It'll end badly. Perhaps playing dead is a good alternative. The Yellow Bear. It is filled with anger and is entirely unpredictable, and will surely drag you into whatever it has going on. It is best to avoid them. Victim or Tims or not, expect nothing good. The Puppet. Don't let looks fool you. They're very friendly towards other animatronics. They're a protector, but danger and attention follows it wherever it goes, so keep a distance for your own safety. Avoid anything with wriggling wires and a crackling laugh. Consider all rabbits a lost cause unless they're in a band and likely confirmed to not be any unscrupulous types. That doesn't mean you cannot trust any animatronics. In fact, the best case scenario would be to find others weak and confused to join up to protect one another. But in this world, that's a rare commodity. So be careful who you trust. Part 6. The Goal. So now we come to the biggest question. What now? What is your goal in your new body? Well, here comes the sort of harsh wake-up call that there isn't one. You're on your own now, and what you aim to do, whether that's to end this existence faster or reclaim your survival, is up to you. As an animatronic, your life, or afterlife, is really at the mercy of everyone around you. You must learn how to adapt it if you want to make it out in one piece. Well, this time. There's no going back to being human, but it's not that bad. It's worth making the best of a bad situation, right? I know you've got this. But since you're heading out, let's play a little game before you go. Get out a 6-sided die or pull one up online. Roll. If you get a 1, you are a classic plush-bodied animatronic. 2, you are a toy animatronic. 3, you are a Funtime. 4, you are a Glamrock. 5, you are a broken or scrapped animatronic. And 6, you are a bear endo. Oh, I didn't even cover bear endos. If you're a bear endo, unless you are a very specific model, you are in a lot of trouble. So try to find a suit very quickly. Anyway, roll again. If you roll a 1, you're in perfect condition. 2, you're in good condition. 3, somewhat worn. 4, rather broken. 5, severely broken. And 6, currently on fire. Roll one more time. 1 or 2, you wake up in a functional pizzeria. 3 or 4, and you wake up in an abandoned or dilapidated pizzeria. 5 or 6, and you wake up outside or in a scrapyard, junkyard, the likes. That's your new life. Now go have a journey. Unless you're currently on fire, in which case you've probably got 5 minutes to kill. Could be worse though, it's not that bad. You could always be the Blob. So I hope this guide has helped you gain footing in your new situation. Take care and smile. You are the face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.